Continuing from the previous episode 2710. The Phoenix Clan's new residence, under the ancient sycamore tree, watching the exciting battle in the heavenly secret realm. Everyone also had their own thoughts. The catastrophe of the demon world and the asterisk world has come to an end. Although each has suffered losses, it is fortunate that the source has not been damaged. After a short while, Zunar's beautiful eyes blinked slightly, as if thinking. Life and death. The Book of Reincarnation? After staying for a while, Xiao Yan's doubtful voice emerged, as if he was a little puzzled by the two. Life and Death Po is a asterisk holy object that controls the death of living beings and falls into the asterisk world and reincarnates, and the Book of Reincarnation is an item that records the specific coordinates of many living beings in the world. At this moment, looking at the silence of the few people in front of her, Feng Luanyu spoke slowly. Naturally, these news are secrets that only a few people know about. I heard that the purpose of your trip is to reincarnate in the sea. If you want to enter the Sea of Samsara, this Book of Samsara is essential. After all, you have the ladder, and you have just found those peak powers in the vast Sea of Samsara. I am afraid that the purpose of the extraterritorial is to try to obliterate those in the Sea of Samsara. Vulgar guy. Feng Luanyu continued to speak, explaining to Xiao Yan and the others. What Clan Chief Feng said is indeed reasonable. I'll go to the asterisk world. The Lord of Sword Territory nodded slightly, and then turned his gaze to Xiao Yan. After all, the power of speech for the Endless Flame Alliance was still dominated by Xiao Yan. Brother Xiao Yan, let me go. The senior master of the sword domain joined our Endless Flame Alliance in secret, after all. If you step into the asterisk world in a daze, you will inevitably have trouble again. It happened that I went to the asterisk world to pick up the asterisk demon dragon by virtue of my mistress status, which is reasonable and well-founded. Zunar took a step forward, and then thoughtfully analyzed. Be careful this trip. This is some holy flame. You? Now it is an eventful autumn. Xiao Yan felt a little reluctant after hearing the words, and immediately a dazzling holy flame was bathed on the palm of his hand. Flickering with a scorching flame, he moved gracefully and left here in an instant. This girl. Seeing the figure of Zunar leaving, Xiao Yan was also at a loss for a while, and became unable to laugh or cry. Zunar, who is blessed by the seal of reincarnation, divine weapon, holy flame, etc., is extremely powerful in combat. Xiao Yan's worry can be said to be careless and chaotic. Next, while speaking, the holy flames spread out again, the pictures in the heavenly secret realm surged, and the area of the Buddha realm appeared impressively. Buddha. The Buddha world? Looking at the picture, the broken Buddha statues contained countless unsettling black qi, and the sinister aura made one's heart feel cold, Feng Luanyu exclaimed in surprise. The Buddhist world has always been indifferent to the world, and has never participated in the situation of the great world. Even this kind of force has been besieged by outsiders? And looking at the current appearance, I am afraid that the situation of the Buddha world is even more dangerous than the previous two. Mother Zunar said that the relationship between the Buddha realm and the Endless Fire realm is normal. In order to protect the major areas under our command, she did not send anyone there. Listening to Feng Luanyu's serious voice, King Swallowing Spirit shook his head, and then Xiao Yan and the others also showed ugly expressions. If you rush now, it will be too late. I can only hope that they will seek more happiness for themselves. Xiao Yan's heart sank. There is no good way to do this now. In the heavenly secret realm, the picture began to become clear. What caught my eye was a magnificent Buddhist temple surrounded by golden light in the Buddha realm. In the magnificent Buddhist temple, there is a suffocating smell everywhere. At this time, there is a mess everywhere, and the white bones and the icy corpses surrounded by death are stacked like mountains. In the main hall, the golden Buddha statues flickered with Buddhist scriptures all over the body. Under the Buddha statues, stood several monks with ugly faces. These guys were all covered with large and small scars, and there were even a lot of black silk residues on the cassocks. Most of their breaths are around the fourfold reincarnation stage, which can be said to be the mainstay of the Buddhist world. At this time, outside the main hall, there were several dark figures in strange clothes wandering, and there was a touch of greed and fear in their eyes. Among the many figures wandering outside the Buddhist temple, there is a woman at the head. This person's face is very delicate, and she looks as delicate as a weak woman. She is wearing very thin clothes. Under the almost transparent clothes, the spring light micro now. With a slight glance, he could find that under the woman's delicate body, there was an enchanting, charming and asterisk aura, and even those eyes were sometimes secretly swaying, which was extremely strange. Little benefactor, why did you sacrifice your own life to protect this Buddhist world that exists in name only? Isn't it beautiful to obediently throw yourself into the arms of your concubine, and let go of these tedious things? The enchanting and asterisk figure slowly hides at the door, and seems to be a little afraid of the relic Buddha light in the Buddhist temple, and the voice is weak. Well, Amitabha, why did the donor cause such a murder? Aren't you afraid of the punishment of heaven? Several strong men sitting quietly in the Buddhist temple closed their eyes and recited Buddhist scriptures, unmoved by the outside world. Quote. Facing the admonitions of the figures in the Buddhist temple, the woman was unmoved. It is said that God has the virtue of good life, and sooner or later, there will be living beings to save your excellency. Many strong people in the Buddhist temple rolled their chests, and it seemed that some evil things were gushing out of their bodies. Don't worry, you won't live to that day. Heavenly desire, seduction. At this moment, the enchanting woman who was hiding at the door grinned, and pink smoke filled her body. The heavenly desire demon race, the heavenly desire demon lord? Oh. No one knows how to resist the enchanting technique of the demon lord of heaven. Even if it is sheltered by the sacred power of the Buddha's light and Buddhist scriptures, that special enchanting power has penetrated into the Buddhist temple little by little, pouring into the bodies of many monks, and the soul is deep. In an instant, all the thoughts in the bodies of these Buddhist monks suddenly disappeared, and the 6 gods had no masters. They actually put down their Zen sticks and other objects, slowly walked out of the Buddhist temple, and walked towards the body of the Lord of Desire. Come on, come and play with your concubine. Giggle cluck. A series of silver bell-like laughter poured out from the mouth of the demon Lord of Desire, and his delicate body swayed a seductive dance like a water snake, shrouding him and many eminent monks in a pink mist. In the fog, dozens of Buddhist monks who stepped out of the Buddhist temple stared blankly at the demon Lord of Desire. Their bodies turned out to be broken a little bit, disappeared, and finally turned into a touch of golden Buddha light. www. Novel MTL link to .com poured into the body of the demon Lord of Desire. No one knew what they experienced in the pink mist. Yeah, until the eminent monks here were completely devoured, the scarlet mouth of the demon Lord Heavenly Desire couldn't help licking it slightly, as if he was not satisfied. Report to your lord. Shishan Tathagata and Patriarch Bodhi were defeated by the other 2 lords, and now they have fled into the human world with several core executives of the Buddha world, and the huge Buddha world is in danger. Now that the Buddhist world has completely fallen into our hands, the 2 adults have asked you to come over and join hands together, so as to completely establish the passage between the outside world and Dachin in the Buddhist world and turn it into our base camp. The evil shadow coming towards him bowed humbly on the ground, his voice and body trembled, and he didn't dare to look directly at the king of the royal family in front of him. Understood. This Buddhist world is so boring. I don't know how many beautiful men in the human world and other regions can play with concubines. The demon Lord Tianyu smirked, and the pink smoke slowly rose, and his body disappeared here. For a time, the huge Buddha realm suffered heavy losses. Except for the first few rulers who escaped from the human realm, the Buddha realm already existed in name only. What used to be a place of pure and clean cultivation has so impressively evolved into the first base camp for foreigners to attack Dachin. Please remember this book's first domain name. Mobile version reading website. Continuing from the previous episode 2711. Buddha Realm. For a while, looking at the shocking scenes in the 4 regions of the Buddha Realm, the suppressed anger in the hearts of everyone could not be calmed down for a long time. There are cataclysms everywhere in Dachin, winning or losing in battle is inevitable. But seeing the decline of the Buddha Realm, the sadness and anger in my heart still swept out uncontrollably. After all, the Buddha Realm is one with the Dachin Realm. Although the demon Lord of Heavenly Desire was only ranked among the kings of the royal family and did not reach the ranks of the saints, Xiao Yan vaguely felt that the latter's mysterious and unpredictable methods might become a great enemy in the future. And the most important thing is that the Buddhist world now exists in name only, and it has even completely fallen into a place outside the realm. The evil race from outside the territory has occupied the Buddha realm, and has already opened the first step to invade the Great World. The Buddha world was almost wiped out, and the passage to Dachin and the outside world has been opened from the Buddha world. These filthy and despicable fellows. King Swallowing Spirit's face was gloomy. Obviously he could not have imagined that in order to launch this all-out war, half of the people outside the territory even dispatched to attack. Now that the catastrophe is imminent, we can't shelter many areas, and we can protect Dachin from harm alone. Enough. The Lord of the Sword region slowly shook his head. In war, casualties are inevitable. Time is running out. Xiao Yan squeezed his fist slightly, and the holy flame on his body was injected into the realm of heaven again. The screen twisted, and the ghost realm appeared in it. The ghost world is different from the asterisk world. The asterisk world is a place where thousands of souls fall into asterisk for reincarnation after death because of the normal cycle of life and death. In the ghost world, except for those aboriginal residents, most of them were framed by others, and there was always a hostility in their hearts that was difficult to eliminate. They escaped the arrest of the asterisk world and poured into the ghost world. At this moment, above the dark and huge void area, the distorted space suddenly rippled with a layer of energy ripples like water waves, and vaguely, a very terrifying wave swept out. Teacher, Master Lei and his apprentice are in seclusion and cannot sense the current situation in the ghost world. From my point of view, it may take some considerable time for the two of them to succeed in their reincarnation. A graceful figure walked among the crowd, looking at the evil aura that permeated the void outside the central temple of the ghost world. Her beautiful eyes tightened. Ni-er, with Yan Luo and the others from the 10th hall of the Shao clan, waiting for an opportunity to return to the endless fire realm. The entrance to the underworld, just rely on these shrimp soldiers and crab generals, don't worry. These three kings are obviously coming for the hundreds of millions of souls in the ghost realm. Soul Eater's old eyes stared at the slowly shaking void in the distance, and chuckled. The three major royal families outside the territory led their armies to attack the ghost world. There have been dozens of fights in the past. Both sides suffered losses, but they did not really fight to the death. The Lord of Soul Eater is worrying too much. We are willing to live and die together with the ghost world. In an instant, Yama of the 10 halls spoke in unison, and there was a touch of unquestionable majesty in his eyes. Yama, the powerful people in the 10th palace, are only hovering in the middle and lower reaches of samsara. After all, this was the decision made by the Shao clan at the beginning, and outsiders could not know why the strength of the Shao clan's powerhouses were so different. In the space intelligence sales, there seems to be some faint news that Leiju has left the customs. I don't know. Looking at this scene, the Lord of Ghost Abyss opened his mouth slightly, and his voice seemed to be puzzled. I'm afraid that someone is obstructing it. Master Lei and his disciples have entered a deep seclusion, and they can't leave here at all. Facing the question of the Lord of the Ghost Abyss, the Lord of Soul Eater smiled lightly. The people gathered here are the real leaders in the ghost world. The Soul Eater, who is armed with the Needle of Netherworld Breaker, whose strength has reached the half-step 7-fold reincarnation level. 10 people from the 10 halls of Yama, Shao Jia from the Hall of the Great King, half-step 6-fold reincarnation. Shao Yuan, the palace of the second king, is the pinnacle of the 5th reincarnation order. Shao Sensheng in the palace of the 5 kings, half-step 5-fold reincarnation. In addition, Shao Mu, who is carrying the soul-inducing flames, the peak of the quadruple reincarnation, and Shao Mu's lover, Kang Yu, who was found from the immortal world. The quadruple reincarnation cooperates with Shenfeng Tianyan. The rest, Mu Feng, Fang Yanghao, Hao Nier, the master of the Ghost Abyss, Ghost Wuan, the master of No Return Furnace, the king of 10,000 ghosts, Shao Zifan's family, and others, are all in the middle and lower reaches of the reincarnation level, and they can be regarded as ghosts today. The mainstay of the world. Boom! The faces of many figures were solemn, and a cloud of scarlet smoke suddenly poured out from the clouds in the sky. There seemed to be thousands of troops inhabited in the smoke. The strong are heartbroken. The center of the ghost world is the only line of defense in the ghost world. If this place is broken, hundreds of millions of souls in the ghost world will suffer an unprecedented blow. These lingering guys. Immediately, the people's hearts were slightly filled with resolute determination. Don't disturb them, let them succeed in their peaceful reincarnation, which is better than anything else. Seeing more and more evil forces surrounding the hall, the Soul Eater slowly opened his mouth. Fortunately, the center of the ghost world is set up in a place of nothingness, and it will not affect any part of the ghost world. But if the powerhouses in the center of the ghost world are completely wiped out, the outcome of the ghost world is self-evident. 3 royal families, 3 7-layer reincarnation-level powerhouses, and countless bloodthirsty evil armies behind them. This is a tough battle. Quote. At this moment, the entire temple in the center of the ghost world was unusually quiet, and everyone looked up at the evil powerhouse that would emerge from the clouds at any time. "Everyone, how is our proposal going?" While speaking, a thin-faced man emerged above the clouds in the void. The departure of Yun Qi, Yuan Yan and others has greatly reduced the defensive power of the ghost world. After all, since the catastrophe in the ghost world, Yuan Yan has only sheltered the entire soul realm for a long time by himself, and you can see that this the power of the girl. The ghost world has never conquered the pioneers outside the realm, only the soldiers who died in battle. The Lord of Soul Eater took a dashing step and directly rejected the opponent with a tough stance. So, it's not worth talking about. The burly evil king who appeared first seemed to have expected it long ago. He looked at the dozens of henchmen in the ghost world below and licked his tongue greedily. Why so much nonsense? Wipe out this place as soon as possible, or return to the outside world and prepare for the next final battle. Once the full-scale attack this time is effective, the head of the domain will launch a general attack. At that time, how can the Great Thousand World resist the offensive pace from outside our domain? It makes sense, kill me. The burly king stepped out from the end of the void, and his body was more like merging into the void. The latter held a long weapon wrapped in pitch-black demonic energy in one hand. Before the figure arrived, the surging killing intent was like the wrath of winter, which completely spread throughout the world. The cold and biting killing intent made everyone's heart tremble, as if what they were facing now was no longer a mere 7th reincarnation rank, but an inhuman slaughtering beast. The monstrous evil aura turned into a sticky wave of evil, slapping the hearts of everyone in circles, bit by bit killing the last hope in their hearts. It turns out, the reason why they haven't launched a general attack for a long time is to covet the power of my ghost world to kill. Fight, let's fight. Watching the 2 evil kings roaring out with thousands of troops and horses, the Lord of Soul Eater flashed his hand, and the devouring formation instantly enveloped the center of the entire ghost world. In this battle, if there is no hope of life, then we can only fight to the death. Even if they die, they want to let these despicable alien shadows know. Even if they die, they will bite off pieces of flesh and blood from the foreign shadows, causing them to break their bones. Ghost world creatures have never had any cowards. Please remember this book's first domain name. Mobile version reading website. Continuing from the previous episode 2712. Fight. Looking at the 2 menacing evil kings, their figures roared out at the same time, and the huge evil force turned into a mighty pressure and scattered down. A touch of madness is thrown out. With the 2 7-layer reincarnation-level powerhouses and the hidden evil army behind them, this battle will probably be extraordinarily difficult. Faced with such a situation, the Lord of Soul Eater snorted helplessly, and immediately waved his arm. The dark lines depicting the endless devouring power crawled in circles, and immediately swept out like a tidal wave of energy. Under the latter's precise control, it turned into a huge swallowing black gas. The power of devouring, which is full of them, slowly relieves the pressure for everyone, but the power of reincarnation in the main body of Soul Eater is consumed extremely fast. For a time, the huge and incomparably black world spread faintly, and the black air filled the air, suddenly forming a large devouring formation that silently enveloped most of the center of the ghost world. Today's Soul Eater array is different from the past. It has devoted the whole life of the Soul Eater Lord. Whether it is aggression or toughness, it is far from comparable before. 1000 Catastrophe. The battle of the ghost world is terrifying and dangerous, and the only one who can survive the soul-devouring formation is the last victor. Devouring the Great Array? But I don't know whether it's your devouring Great Array that is better, or my slaughtering blood more powerful. Ha ha ha. Among the 2 kings, the slightly burly figure made a sneering voice all over the sky, and the whole figure was completely separated from the void of clouds and poured into everyone's sight. I saw the king's long, blood-red, lush hair, alternating between blood and gray. His face was sharp and angular, the contemptuous killing intent in the corners of his mouth was on display, and even the looming blood-colored lines on his body, they could see them. My heart trembled slightly. One of the kings of the royal family, the Butcher of Blood, with the strength of the 7th level reincarnation, once strangled several strong men of the same level, known as the Berserker in the outside world. The more he fights, the more courageous he is. The other one had a dull aura all over his body, his eyes were as deep as the ocean, and he seemed to be calm, but in fact, his body was covered with threads that were indistinguishable to the naked eye, hiding murderous intentions. Behind the two kings, countless pitch-black demonic chi flew out everywhere, causing the entire swallowing formation to hum. Looking at such a tragic situation, the Soul Eater and the people around him looked at each other and made a decision. Now in the first battle, he can only deal with the Blood Butcher himself, and the others will join forces to fight against another king. Swallow the sky and devour the earth. Just as he made a decision in his heart, the Soul Eater snorted coldly. The power of devouring all over his body emerged, and the old palm quietly raised and slapped the Blood Butcher's position. Btth2. Soul Eater's unexpected blow was powerful, but when he approached the Blood Butcher's side, the latter slowly raised the magic weapon in his hand that was bathed in black energy, and easily dismissed the attack. Are you in such a hurry to die? This king will fulfill you. Bang bang bang. As soon as the Blood Butcher's voice fell, the demonic energy on the magic weapon slowly fell off, and a sinister and evil magic spear emerged. Under the Blood Butcher's swing, every time he waved, a terrifying aura that shook the world erupted. The two are fighting together like this, and the Lord of Soul Eater is well aware of the danger of this battle, and the divine weapon in his hand is also slowly being used in secret. In such a situation, I only have one chance, and I have to hit it, otherwise the world will be destroyed here. On the other side, the powerhouses such as Yama of the 10th Hall of the Shao clan took the lead. Although the strength was not as good as that of the extraterritorial king who manipulated the puppet silk thread technique, he was in a crowd, with the blessing of holy flames and divine weapons. Strange. According to the information, shouldn't there be 3 kings? During the interval between the attack and battle, Hao Near felt a little uneasy, and some unease slowly poured into her heart. At the same time, outside a special void forbidden area in the center of the ghost world that was not enveloped by the swallowing formation, there was a strange shadow in a black robe slowly hovering here, and beside the latter, there were still digital strengths about 4 or 5 layers of reincarnation. The evil spirit of rank strength is dormant. The forbidden land in front of them was like a barren forest, without the slightest mystery, but they did not dare to step into it. Those gloomy eyes locked on this special forest area like a wilderness, and there was no movement for a long time. According to the information they have obtained, this is the entrance to the retreat of Master Lei and his disciples. If they can sneak a sneak attack during their retreat, they will undoubtedly seriously injure 2 people, or have the opportunity to completely obliterate both. Thunder Master and Reincarnation, once successful, they are 2 8-fold reincarnation rank, and even have a slim hope to become more terrifying existence. If he can kill them or destroy reincarnation, it is also an extremely important thing for outsiders. Good thing, Susu. It turns out that there is so much mystery in this barren forest. But after a long time, the dark shadow suddenly caught a slight rise of gray thunder in the barren forest. Relying on this trace of thunder, it is enough to completely pour into the place where the Thunder Master retreats. Lord Thunder, you have been fighting with us for countless years, but now you have been destroyed by a hand as weak as mine. It's really fate. Btth2. And at the moment when the shadow tried to submerge into the void, there was a sudden surge of strong energy from heaven and earth above the sky, and one after another strong men carrying sacred aura suddenly poured into this dark world. People from the endless fire territory? Looking at this scene, his mind shrank, and he suddenly ignored the swallowing formation in the distance. Intuitively, he alone can't resist the crowd. As for the powerful evil shadows around them, they were evaporated by some majestic power and turned into ashes as early as the moment they emerged in that sacredness. Attack the last king among the 3 royal families in the ghost world. Half-step 7-fold reincarnation. Killed. Holy flame shines in the world. Boom. A high-pitched voice resounded, and immediately above the latter's body, many threads of fire appeared out of thin air, and the sacred aura made it very difficult for the latter to move. Ice blood, demon explosion. At this moment this evil king did not dare to have the slightest chance. His body swelled up in an instant, turning into a rain of blood, and he resisted the opponent's offensive just now, and his almost dying soul body, escaping into the swallowing formation in an instant. Mother, this evil figure has been defeated by your hands, and it is no longer a climate. Seeing Mu Yingying's resolute wrist, Feng Wan'er, who accompanied her, chuckled lightly. Even the powerhouses that Mu Yingying brought to support the ghost world felt a bit of sigh in their hearts. Mu Yingying's current strength of the 6th layer reincarnation rank, combined with the strength of the heart-touching holy harmony and the power of the 5 holy flames, is already comparable to the ordinary 7th layer reincarnation rank powerhouse. Senior Soul Eater and others have not yet resolved the crisis. Follow me, and kill the evil one together. Mu Yingying's proud body trembled slightly, and a deafening voice swept out. At that time, there was a surging outside the swallowing formation, and a faint whirlpool appeared. At the moment when it emerged, countless wind-breaking sounds ripped apart the sky, and then, under the leadership of Mu Yingying, they moved like locusts. Rushed into the swallowing formation. Although the power brought by Mu Yingying was only 100 people, all of them were elite teachers in the endless fire territory, and even if they faced the real 7-layer reincarnation level powerhouse head-on, they would not show weakness. At this moment, the horn of the counterattack is slowly sounding. Please remember this book's first domain name. Mobile version reading website. Continuing from the previous episode 2713. At this time, the battle in the devouring formation became more and more exciting. The battle between the Blood Butcher and the Soul Eater was still inextricable, but on the other side, dozens of strong men joined hands to fight against each other, but there were faint signs of defeat. It can't go on like this. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Soul Eater's eyes narrowed slightly, flashing a touch of resolute decisiveness, and then his palm rolled in secret. A faint needle shadow that was almost negligible was suddenly thrown out. The latter had just left the control of Soul Eater, and he shuttled through the void eerily, approaching the Blood Butcher little by little. Due to the small size of the evil soldier, and the fact that the Soul Eater deliberately covered it up, even the powerful Butcher who was *** didn't notice it. The Lord of Soul Eater, it's nothing more than that. This boring farce, let's stop it as soon as possible. The ghost world is a place that is quite suitable for living outside our domain. Even if you wait until you completely fall, we will not destroy the entire ghost world. Susu. The cold laughter filled the air, the Blood Butcher's palm slowly clenched the magic spear, and an extremely surging magic power roared out of his body like a tide. In the tumult of that vast magical power, it turned into a rolling wave of magic behind him, surrounding the body of the Blood Butcher, staring at everything. One after another, the rumbling demonic sound resounded through the world, causing the devouring array to tremble, and it was on the verge of collapse. Involuntarily, the Blood Butcher's palm magic spear was slowly raised, and immediately the rolling magic wave surged. The level of the magic power was not comparable to the ordinary 7-layer reincarnation rank powerhouse. You will regret this. Looking at the proud posture of the Blood Butcher, the corner of Soul Eater's lips suddenly raised a sharp arc, and in the void, there was also a faint needle shadow surging. What? Seeing the abnormal behavior of the Master of Soul Eater, the Blood Butcher was at a loss for a while, hurriedly retracted the magic spear, and watched the surrounding void with vigilance. It seems, there is some kind of power that is enough to threaten him, and it is rapidly approaching him. But now, in the devouring formation, it is pitch black and cannot be recognized with the naked eye alone. The next moment, at the moment when the Blood Butcher hesitated, an extremely small black shadow appeared, and immediately turned into a black needle shadow the size of a hair, carrying a terrifying power that wiped out all things. For a time, the whole world became restless, and countless devouring powers and evil powers roared for it. Btth. Without any unnecessary actions, the black needle shadow penetrated directly from the body of the Blood Butcher, as if passing through no man's land. Immediately, the incomparably vast magic power on the Blood Butcher's body disappeared as quickly as a deflated balloon. There is an extremely small pinhole in the chest, and it is such a weak attack that makes the Blood Butcher extremely painful, as if the moment the latter hits his body, even his soul is instantly severely injured. Boom! The violent and incomparable evil force swept out from the Blood Butcher's body frantically, and the rich *** aura scattered into the void, making the entire dark world of the devouring great array dyed with a dark red color. Swallow. Devour the sky and devour the earth. Looking at the Blood Butcher with a slack expression in the distance, the Soul Eater took a deep breath, and immediately almost all the power of devouring in the body, the power of reincarnation poured out completely, turning into a deep devouring light array, facing the Blood the Butcher shrouded away. Now I use the power of devouring, the power of reincarnation, and even the ghost-shattering needle condensed with the power of the ghosts of many creatures in the ghost world. Even in the face of the real King of the Saints, I can get it by surprise. Inexpensive effect. He is now mobilizing his life force, enough to completely kill the Blood Butcher here. Once the Blood Butcher is defeated, the disaster in the ghost world will collapse. There was chaos in the noisy pitch-black world. The Soul Eater's body surging, cooperated with the devouring light array, and instantly completely suppressed the Blood Butcher standing motionless in midair. You really think that you can shelter the ghost world in this way? Feeling the endless devouring power in the engulfing light array around him, devouring his own evil power and life little by little, the Blood Butcher smiled relievedly. In his scarlet pupils, there seemed to be a touch of inexplicable madness. Quote. The Lord of Soul Eater did not speak, but tried his best to activate the devouring light array, trying to completely suppress and obliterate the latter. Between the battles, he turned his head and looked at the other side. The alliance of those strong men, but under the king who controlled the silk thread puppet, was retreating step by step. I didn't expect this king to be beaten like this by a Ghost World powerhouse. Deputy World Lord of the Ghost World Center, this king approves of you. In return, I will forever imprison your soul in the high sky of the Ghost World, and let countless Ghost World creatures understand that this is the consequence of confronting us outside the realm. Ha ha ha. In an instant, the Blood Butcher's body suddenly had a strong blood light, and a dazzling blood light flashed on his body. No matter how the Soul Eater devoured the latter, it seemed to have no effect. As if, the current Blood Butcher has fallen into a state of madness, and the fatal damage caused by the netherworld potion to the latter is also completely ignored in the other party's state. Immune to all power for a short time, similar to the power of the Berserkers? Seeing the dazzling bloodlight appearing all over the Blood Butcher's body, the latter's power became more and more inflated, and the devouring light array that he exerted with all his strength was crushed by the wave. At this moment, a sense of powerlessness slowly poured into Soul Eater's heart. Even with the help of numerous medicinal pills in the endless fire realm, the ghost realm still has no self-protection power under such a catastrophe. And with the mutation on the side of Soul Eater, the situation on the other side suddenly collapsed. The joint attack of dozens of strong men was self-defeating under the evil power of the latter. Like an ant, his body was twisted and tortured at will by another king. Teacher, I'm sorry. Vice World Lord, I'm dragging you down. Among the miserable crowd, the mournful voices were slightly hoarse, which made one hear endless anger. Ha ha ha, Master of Soul Eater, such a big ghost world, you are the only one in the company now. Do you still have to do these meaningless resistances? The Blood Butcher was surrounded by blood light, standing above the clouds in the sky, holding a magic spear. The tip of the spear pointed directly at the eyebrows of the Master of Soul Eater, sneering endlessly. This kind of madness is the king's skill of the latter. Although it lasts for a short time, with such blessings, it is only a matter of time to obliterate the ghost world. Is it meaningless? That's not necessarily true. Without waiting for the Soul Eater and others to have an idea in their hearts, whistling sounds abruptly poured out from outside the devouring great array, and the dazzling sacred flame halo flickered out, causing the entire world in the devouring great array to flicker out. Become brighter. This voice is majestic and cold, like a savior, which is slightly shocking. Please remember this book's first domain name. Mobile version reading website. Continuing from the previous episode 2714. Who? Aware of the many strange auras that suddenly gushed out from the periphery of the swallowing formation, the two evil kings moved closer together and said vigilantly. Even the endless cloud layer behind him containing the evil army of the three royal families trembled, as if this strange aura contained a touch of divine power that frightened him. Endless Flame Alliance? With the appearance of the unfamiliar aura, the eerie black threads on How Near and the others fell off instantly, making them all free in an instant. For a time, everyone hurriedly looked up at the end of the unfamiliar aura, one after another with awe-inspiring fighting intent. The figure is glaring at the evil figure above the big formation. Nonsense! What are you doing here? Let me go quickly. The ghost world doesn't need you. Seeing that everyone behind him arrived in the devouring formation in an instant, the Soul Eater Lord's weak body trembled, and a touch of anger swept out of his heart. The Soul Eater, who had always been strict and kind in the past, had a great change in temperament at this time. Looking at the beautiful woman in the crowd, his voice became choked up. The ghost world. Now it's a mortal situation. Why do they want to die like this? Could it be that based on the information they control, they don't know that the 3 royal families are attacking the ghost world? It was Xiao Yan who sent me here. I remember he once said that a teacher for one day is a father for life. At the moment of the catastrophe, although our endless flame alliance is not comparable to the peak giants of the great thousand worlds, we can do our best to protect all the forces under our command from suffering. After all, our endless flame alliance is not a soft spot to be slaughtered by others. Persimmon. Mu Yingying's pretty face was tense, her beautiful eyes were always locked on the 2 evil kings hovering in the air, and everyone behind her was also the same enemy. But, hearing such a decisive voice, there was a smear of old tears on the old face of the Soul Eater Lord, but looking at the other 2 royal family kings and the evil army, the Soul Eater Lord was still worried. Now, it's not a matter of self-will. For the victory of the Great Thousand World, and for the Shao clan, the necessary sacrifices are inevitable. Mu Yingying leading the army to support the ghost world is undoubtedly an excellent move, but among the people they came, there is not a 7th-level powerhouse. Such a tragic situation. Susu, where did the girl doll come from? She looks so beautiful, but I don't know if she has been beaten. Immediately, the blood butcher's eyes were scarlet, and the crazy killing intent around him became more and more obvious. Try, you'll know if you don't. Mu Yingying wrapped her arms around her chest, and a looming light halo surrounded her delicate body, quite like a goddess of war. The foreign royal family, the blood butcher. The power of the berserkers has already been swung. But this kind of surging combat power may not last long. Once the power subsides, he will fall into a real state of atrophy in a short period of time. At that time, he was no different from the ants who were powerless. Behind Mu Yingying, the cold-blooded general, the white-boned old man, Mu Feng and Feng Wan'er looked at each other, and the remaining evil king had to be checked and balanced by them. Under the strong support of the Endless Flame Alliance, their power has skyrocketed a lot, almost ranking between the 6th reincarnation level and the peak, gathering the strength of 4 people to deal with an evil king of the 7th reincarnation level, but not afraid. Be careful, this is one of the 4 mistresses of the Endless Fire Territory. None of the 4 women in the Endless Fire Territory is a fuel-efficient lamp. The king who was manipulating the silk puppet by his side frowned and seemed a little worried. Even the other king who was with them didn't have any breath. I'm afraid the latter's fate is very clear. Without the leadership of any 7-layer reincarnation level powerhouse, it can actually obliterate the half-step 7-layer reincarnation level king. The combat effectiveness of this group of figures cannot be underestimated. I don't have much time, but I believe that no matter how strong she is, she will only become a ghost under my gun in the end. The blood butcher snorted coldly, waved his magic spear and whistled at will, with a kind of apocalyptic apocalypse, and directly fought with Mu Yingying. The battle between the brilliance of the holy flame and the magic spear was intractable for a while, but with the passage of time, the surging power of Mu Yingying's holy flame artifact allowed the latter to slowly gain the upper hand. For a time, the scale of victory in the ghost world was also slowly tilted by a group of powerhouses led by Mu Yingying. After all, Mu Yingying was blessed with 5 kinds of holy flames, the seal of reincarnation, divine weapons, etc., so that her combat power had already surpassed her 6-layered reincarnation rank. As for the other people, the cold-blooded general and the old man with white bones, with the help of the endless fire domain pills, their strength and combat effectiveness have grown by leaps and bounds. For example, Feng Wan'er and Mu Feng, with fierce attacks in their hands and endless means, victory is only a matter of time. Even the ghost world is in such a terrifying crisis? The power of Saint Flame gradually approached calm, and the picture in the heavenly secret realm completely disappeared. Obviously, with the single saint flame ranked at the bottom, it was impossible to completely observe the end of a battle. Fortunately, several mistresses acted decisively and dispatched the powerhouses of the Endless Flame Alliance to support them everywhere. Otherwise, this catastrophe would probably cause great panic. The King of Swallowing Spirit looked solemn, and the scenes he just watched were shocking. Although there were no dangers, the despair and uneasiness permeated little by little. And the heavens, and the demon world. Once the safety of the two forces is confirmed, we must immediately head to the Sea of Samsara. Xiao Yan's expression was a little weird. He didn't know why the flame god cauldron in his hand kept releasing a fiery wave, which seemed to push him to move towards the Sea of Samsara as soon as possible. When connecting with the power of countless holy flames when he conquered the flame god cauldron, Xiao Yan always felt uneasy in his heart. The Book of Reincarnation has not been retrieved, and Mistress Zuner, Mistress Mu Yingying, and Su Shuiying and other inheritors who hold the seal of reincarnation must gather in the Sea of Samsara so that they can increase the chance of awakening the powerhouses who are sleeping in Samsara. King Swallowing Spirit noticed some subtle changes in Xiao Yan's mood, and immediately said, "These things must be done before going to the Sea of Samsara. After all, if the seal of Samsara and the reincarnator can be completely reincarnated, the many powerhouses who fall asleep in the Sea of Samsara will also become a new force in this world. We have a sense of holy flame between us, and I can tell them. There is not much time left for us." Xiao Yan's expression was solemn. It seemed that this time, the Sea of Samsara was the final battlefield for launching an all-out war against the Great Thousand Worlds. Similar to the Endless Flame Alliance, the Dachi-Ngong Phoenix Clan, and other places, although there are also many powerful people, compared with the Samsara Sea, they are nothing short of nothing. Please remember this book's first domain name. Mobile version reading website.